Hi, and in the second logs analysis I'm doing this weekend, this time it's on someone who's on 2 out of 10 mythic, but what we're going to be looking at are some heroic logs. It's a Retribution Paladin who wants some general pointers, also had some questions about trinkets, was asking in particular about Convergence of Fates and Faulty Countermeasure. Also saying, forgot to swap my COTC to FCM. I'm not FCM Faulty Countermeasure. COTC, not sure what that is, but never mind. We'll get on with it anyway. Convergence of Fates, I've just said in the other one, but just really quickly again, is useful when either you think you can get an extra crusade out of the fight as a result of using it, or if it will allow you to use it at more convenient times. If neither of those things is likely, then you should not use it. Unless, of course, it's by far your highest item level trinket, because it does have strength on it. But you're not getting anything else from it if it doesn't do one of those two things. Faulty Countermeasure is really good if you're not using Convergence of Fates, that you cannot use the two together, because otherwise it'll be out of sync. One of the benefits of Faulty Countermeasure is it has a 2-minute cooldown just like your Crusade. Well, guess what? If you have Convergence of Fates, your Crusade doesn't have a 2-minute cooldown anymore. So it won't line up, and if it doesn't line up, it's no point in using it. But Faulty Countermeasure is great for single targets. It is less powerful in AoE because it does its damage to one target. But it does do a lot of damage. If you can have a high item level Faulty Countermeasure, that is still good on single target fights. And there are single target fights. Or even, you know, even if it's not a single target fight, but a fight where you are supposed to focus on the single target boss damage, then it's good for that as well. Now, when I'm just looking for general things, a bit of a loss to decide which boss to look at. But shall we, I mean, the link I've got here are all for heroic logs. So, well, I'll not link on Tichondrius because we've just looked at a Tichondrius log. Let's look at a Croesus log then. So, let's have a look. This is a Croesus heroic. I don't think there's any particular need for you to complain. You're one of the highest damage dealers in the fight, so any dissatisfaction you have with your overall level of damage is likely to be tempered by the fact that your kill time, I mean, don't underestimate the effect of kill time on your overall damage numbers. So let's have a look. What are you wearing? So you've got Ashes to Dust and Chain of Thrain. Ew. Ouch. I mean, Chain of Thrain is very nice, of course. Ashes to Dust. This isn't really the fight where it's going to excel, is it? I suppose. But it's not a bad one. You know, it's still a 3-put legendary. So what tier do you have then? So you've got Helmet of the High Lord, Breastplate of the High Lord, Leg Plates. Oh, and Cloak. And your trinkets, Convergence of Fates, and Claw of the Crystalline Scorpid. So, as you asked my thoughts on Convergence of Fates, shall we just check to see if you used them? I should have actually clicked on your name. The answer to that is a hearty no. You did not get any benefit from Convergence of Fates, because you used Crusade twice in that fight, and you could use Crusade twice in that fight, regardless of whether you had Convergence of Fates or not. And although you did pop it a few seconds earlier than you would have been able to without it, did you really get any benefit from it? Let's. I strongly suspect not. I'm going to have a look at something here. Damage done to Burning Embers, Group 2. So that's from about 215. So I'm just going to go back. So you used Crusade. So you would have had Crusade going while you were having to move out for Burning Pitch. Now I'm just going to have a look at something on the replay here. So let's go to just before, where are you? There you are. Just before you activate Crusade. Going to keep an eye on you. So you've used Crusade, and now you're moving away from the boss. Not for very long, though. And not very far. Has the soaking all been done properly? Let's have a look. So... damage done to the second group of burning embers. Ooh. Well, we'll work on... one of two things will be true here. I'm going to go back to that replay. One of two things will be true here. Either it is the tactic of your group that you don't have to pay attention to the ads, or you're just not doing it and you should be doing it. But let's see. So people going out for burning pitch, including you. Remember, you've got Crusade up at this point, so you're not doing any damage with it. I'm just going to click on your name there. I mean, the ads that have appeared are all quite far back. I suppose if they're killed quickly and people are okay with that, then you get away with doing that. What I would say is, though, that's on the assumption that it is the guild's tactic, the raid's tactic, to allow you to do that, because if everyone is supposed to muck in and deal with the ads, then you were not doing that. Which is not going to be great, thinking about me. I know this isn't Mythic, but it's not going to be great for that. Then, should we have a look at the start part of the fight as well? So, under the effects of Crusade and Heroism, I'm just going to have a look at what abilities you were using. So we want Cass, and I want Timeline. So again, you've prejudged Divine Hammer, which is good, because we can see it's ticking there, but we can't see the cast of it. So you must have done it before combat started. You used a Crusader Strike, Judgment, and Crusade, and you're spending. So that's good, you're spending there. This is less good. So you've used Potion of the Old War here. Now the problem with this is that you've used a potion at the start of the fight in combat. That means you cannot use one later on. So that's you using one potion. Now, as DPS, we are used to using two potions in a fight because what is called pre-pot. That is as close to the pull timer as you dare, because obviously if anyone in your group has a habit of ninja pulling, it might have to be a bit earlier. But let's say a second before the pull, and you should have a countdown for it. Someone should be doing a countdown for you. That's when you should be potting. So you don't even, just going back here, want to use Potion of the Old War at that. Even if you were going to use Potion of the Old War there, you want to delay it a little bit more, because you're only going to get 25 seconds out of this. So you can sort of afford to wait a few more seconds, by which time you would have stacked up you'd have got an extra few stacks and get a bit more benefit from it. But that's probably splitting hairs at this point. The key thing is you should have used that before the pull. And alright, you waste a little bit of it here, but that's, I mean, that's why we use Crusade so early on. Ordinarily, if it wasn't for the pre-part, with Crusade, we'd be building up to 5 Holy Power, then popping Crusade, then spend, build, spend, blah, 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 blah. The reason why we only do it to 3 is because we're pre-potting, and that pot is ticking down and we want to get the max benefit out of it. Like later on in the fight when using Crusade, you'll probably want to build up to 5 if you can, before you use Crusade, again, to build up as quickly as possible and get as much time on the 15 stacks maximum as possible. So Potion of the Old War, you've only used it once, and you could have used it a second time. You could have had this potion available for both crusades, and you've only had it used for one because you didn't pre-pot. But again, on Botanists, again, really high damage. So there's obviously not a huge amount going wrong here. I suppose we could just look at, again, Crusade use. Again, you know, using Crusade twice. You could use Crusade twice without conversion. And in fact, in this case, you're not even using it early. So you've given yourself 0 point in using Conversions of Fate here. Now, granted, for the kill time, it might well be that Conversions of Fate isn't the best thing for you, because you can only really expect it to knock off 10 seconds. So that would mean, okay, you use it at 150, and then the next one, you know, maybe allows you to use it, I don't know, like 340. It's about the fight ending here. So you probably shouldn't have used Conversions of Fate. If you've got a different trinket, use that, because you're not getting extra use out of it, and you're not even using it at a more convenient time, because I mean that you could have used it then anyway without that trinket. Shall we have a look? If you, again, Potion of the Old War, you're not pre-potting. You're losing so much damage by not pre-potting. It makes me wonder. I'm going to have a look at, right, I'm going to have a look at some fights here. Scorpion. You didn't even one pot. Oh, that's not right, is it? You didn't pot at all there. Well, we'll assume that's just because that's an easy. Let's forget about the easy ones. Let's just concentrate on the ones where you presumably have to pay a... Oh no. Star Augur. Again, one pot. Oops, sorry. Elisand. Ah, one pot. Gul'dan. It's one pot and right at the end, so you didn't even get the max use out of it. It's like you've forgotten to use it and just used it right at the end. I'll tell you what else it's like. It's like you don't know what a pre-pot is. So I'm just going to have to show you me doing one. So what I do when I'm getting ready for a fight is, depending on the fight. So if it's a fight where, yeah, like a normal type of fight, yeah, pre-cast Divine Hammer. If you've got Divine Hammer, and you have Divine Hammer on virtually every fight. At the moment, we will not go into it in a few weeks' time, but at the moment. And then just before the pull, I tend to do it on a second because I'm reasonably confident people won't ninja pull. Then I use my pot. And then that means that later in the fight, I have another pot that I can use. But in terms of your general DPS numbers, for your item level, I don't think you've got any real cause to complain. There's no cause for complaint. In terms of like the statement you made that you don't think your damage is good enough for the item level is not really being borne out by these numbers. You've got to remember there are other limiting factors. One limiting factor is time. If you're in a raid group that takes, you know, if you're one of the top damage dealers, then technically you can argue in very uncharitable terms that your group is dragging you behind because time-wise, they're not killing it as quickly as if everyone was doing the same damage as you. Whereas the other thing is that Retribution Paladins are stunning pad masters. There are quite a lot of fights where you have an opportunity to pad as a Retribution Paladin, and maximizing your damage at this point will allow you to do that. Now I'm just going to show you, I had a bit of an embarrassment this week on Tichondrius because I made an error of judgment. I'm just going to show you the effect of it on one of my logs. So actually Tichondrius Mythic this week is the one I want to show you, where a spectacular error of judgment led to a little bit of a cock-up. So if I click on enemies here, what we can see is there were 3 groups of bats. That doesn't sound right, does it? Now, on the first group of bats, of course, lots of damage. I popped my crusade at that time. In fact, I'm just going to show you, because I am one of the 2 people that's supposed to be blowing the hell out of those bats. So the entire Fate, crusade used here at the start, of course. Then, I mean, I'm holding it. Look, it's available. I'm not using Convergence of Fates. I'm holding it here. I'm still holding on to it because I'm waiting for the bat phase. Some people will be holding it even beyond that. And wait, so, but I'm using it in the bat phase. Okay. But then the next time it came up, so let's just have, I don't have the video of this, unfortunately. I don't think we got 3. I think that's a bit of an error data point there. Right, this is better. So the next set of bats came at round about 450 seconds. So let's reset that. Go and have a look at those buffs again. Now what you can see here is 450 seconds. So that's when I use my crusade, right? Unfortunately not. I used mine at 423 because at this point I thought we were going to kill the boss before the next bat phase. We're getting quite close to it, but a big error of judgment meant that that didn't work out. So in other words, I should have saved it, didn't, which meant obviously I then didn't do as much damage on the bats. And also because my crusade will actually last a little bit beyond the bat phase, I got some use out of it when I was using it here on the boss itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you at this point, around about the 3-minute mark, where things were with my damage. So with my damage, not the top, because we're a bit indisciplined on the bat phase. I'm supposed to be one of the first 2 people to get the orb. Was I? Was I bollocks? And there's lots of people crawling around it. So we don't do that brilliantly. But nonetheless, still quite high on there. Now, reset the whole thing, go to the end of the fight, way down. I'm not even... I mean, I should be top of damage. I remember what happened on the first set of bats. And this is without me using Consecration even, because at this point, I don't think we even need it. We're fine on bats. We're able to kill enough bats, but still we want to make sure that there should have been an absolute carbon. There was no reason why that third one shouldn't have been a carbon copy of it, but it wasn't. And that's because I didn't have Crusade available, because I used it early thinking that it'd help to push the boss before that bat phase, and it didn't. So it just shows you the importance of effectively using Crusade. So anyway, hope those 2 looks were useful. If they were, don't forget to subscribe, as always, for further content. If anyone else has got any requests, then by all means put them in. I can't always guarantee that I'd be able to do them, and I can't always be able to guarantee when I can do them, unless, of course, you're a patron, then it's a different thing. But I hope you did find it useful, and until next time, I'll see you later.